Hello, I'm Darren Jackal. I'm in my studio. I talk about product development, design, and mountaineering. Welcome to another episode of Experimental Design, Discourse, and Disclosure. Last few episodes I've been talking about the integration of the various components that I use for ski mountaineering, and I'm going to continue that today. In today's episode, we're going to look specifically at the backpack component, and we'll look at the major influences on the design of that. So stay tuned, coming up next. As I've mentioned before, to really understand the integration of the various components and the best way to go about things, we kind of need to understand the context. So again, we're talking multi-day summits where we're going to have a whole bunch of extra stuff with us that we would not have on a simple day trip. So looking at our environment, the factors that are going to be important, of course, social, economic, technological, but really it's the human factors that we need to talk about today. This is going to be an instance of two driving forces. One will be the need to accommodate all the various components and all the various gear that we're going to be taking with us on a multi-day trip. But that is going to be lower on the hierarchy than the comfort we will have when we put the pack on and its need to be able to adapt to the body in its various motions throughout the day. So if it doesn't fit right and it's not comfortable, then no matter how we've come up with the various ways to incorporate features and all our components into the backpack, it's not going to go anywhere. One of the big things we need to understand about the human body is that it's not just a static volume. It's a volume that changes form or shape in space over time. So right now, within this illustration, we have the human body and the spine basically in line with gravity. So my load will be over my feet. My spine's going to be in S-curve. So this isn't how your body is going to respond to loads and different angles as you go through your day. There's another form of the spine known as the neutral body position. This is the position the body will take in space, where it's got a more rounded C-spine type of form. So when you are moving horizontally in flat ground, your spine will most likely be in S-curve as it provides the best structure for the load. As you start to go down, you are more than likely going to move into C-spine to accommodate the angle and the load. So we'll need to look at that. Okay, our context is going to be going up and skinning in a non-technical scenario. So we're going to be loaded up and we're going to be going for a summit. So I'm going to put in a track that is unlike a track I would put in if I was going to be in an area for a couple days and I wanted to use that skin track to get back to where I was to keep pushing forward. So I'm going to make a highway. I'm going to put it at an angle that I know I'm going to be able to come back tomorrow and still get enough purchase, enough grip to be able to use it. I'm going to look to work the terrain. I'm going to be minimizing my kick turns and just generally putting in a consistent, well-angled, what does that mean, track that I can use again. Now, if I'm going for a summit, then I'm going to be putting in a track that is really efficient. I'm going to go steep. I'm going to go as steep as I can, as long as the last person in my group can use it at that moment, because we're not coming back. This is a summit that we're going for. We're not putting in a highway for other people to use. So in this case, this is from straight shooter Andrew McLean or McLean, I'm not sure how you actually say it. But part of skinning is to keep your back straight. Don't bend or break at the waist. So keep your skis flat. So you need to, if we look at this guy, you can see he's in S-curve, S-spine as much as possible, and he's loading the back, the lower part of the ski through the heel. This is really where you're going to get the traction on your skin. So don't be bending over and try and get your weight over the front. It's just not going to work. So S-curve for going up, And then I'm going to convert that to C curve for going down. So my backpack is going to need to be able to accommodate, you know, the fact that I'm going to be going up an S curve, coming down in C curve. So at the beginning, the human factor side of things, I'm really going to be looking at, you know, the frame of the pack, the padding on the back, the shoulder straps and the sternum strap, my load lifters, and trying to basically get my load into my hips. So it's the hip belt, how much padding I'm going to have on that, etc. Then I need to make it big enough to hold all the pieces. And some of these are what I would call the independent variable pieces, where I'm going to be taking a shovel blade. I'm going to be taking a probe pole. I'm going to be taking the handle for the shovel. So I need to make sure the pack can accommodate these things. It's also going to be, you know, I'm going to be putting on an ice tool, an ice axe, and I'm going to be putting my skis on there too. So these two forces are going to be working to create this object. It's going to be the solution space that all these other demands basically form it into. So I'm going to show you how I would adjust my pack for going up as opposed to coming down, and we'll talk about that next. Once again, it is innovate as a last resort. So these type of backpacks, this is a backpack that has, as opposed to a rucksack, which is essentially a sack, you know, something like this, which would have been when my father came to Canada with in the early 1950s from Europe. This was a rucksack. So it's a backpack, an internal frame backpack. It's got stays inside here and some padding, and most importantly, it has these load lifters that takes the load from your shoulders and helps transfer it into the hips. So when I see people putting on their backpacks and it's up around their waist, I'm like, you're not getting it. These need to be down on your hips. You need to transfer the load into your pelvis, which can then be transferred into your femurs, tibia, fib, and the feet into the ground plane. Again, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'll be using much of the information that I get from these old backpacks in terms of the capacity and the features. If I can, I want to use those independent variable components, the shovel and the saw and the shovel handle, to help transfer that load into my hips, but also put them in a place where they are readily accessible when I need them in an emergency. I'm going to probably put them out here on the back, and I'm going to try and have them use their rigidity to help transfer the load into the hips. When I am putting on my backpack and I'm going to be going up, I'm going to suck it onto my hips really good, and then I'm going to adjust the straps standing up straight. Now I'm ready to skin uphill. I'm going to be in S curve, and the load's going to be transferred, you know, into my pelvis, into the floor, and I'm going to keep that straight back for when I'm getting into steeper terrain. Now conversely, when I take off my backpack, I'm going to loosen up these shoulder straps and take my skins off and get ready for the down. And I'm going to put the backpack on again. I'm going to suck it into my hips, but this time I'm going to round my back and I'm going to get ready for downhill skiing. So then I'm going to pull my straps in and adjust the sternum strap, and now I'm ready for downhill skiing. Let's take a quick look at this behavior model that I've developed to try out a few ideas. So first thing you're going to notice is that I've got this area for the mountain tool holster cleaned up. I don't have any straps running here. I want this to be easy to use and not hook up on things. And I'm starting my ski carry system. I want to keep my skis away from this area, and I'm using this strapping system that I'm going to show you here. I don't think it's particularly novel or anything. It just uses a single strap. You can see And on that strap is this floating strap, and that allows me to use this as a compression strap, and also to use it as a ski carry, but to keep the skis sucked over away from this edge as much as possible. It leaves the back open for me to carry a foam pad back here. And the thing you're going to notice is that it uses the same sort of drawstring system. This time I've got a double pull. So you opens the whole thing very quickly and easily. Again, I have the lid that comes out. My plan for this is to extend this back portion so it rides up and finishes off when it's in the day touring system nice and clean. I want to have this more like a bikini system where I can open it up and have basically a pocket here for my shovel blade and my shovel handle and things like that. And then when I need to, I can expand this, pull this away, and put a whole bunch of other things down behind here and have this expand up top and have the lid ride up. So that should be able to grow into the size I'm looking for. Just a final look at this idea. This line represents the backpack in its day tripping configuration. And this line here is it when it's expanded for multi-day trips. So the idea is that there would be a pocket on the backside here on the bikini. It wouldn't actually be attached. This would be a defined volume in here that is big enough for, you know, day tripping, maybe a hut trip, but still is able to fit the winter system, the shelter system in here. Then it can expand, and I think I'm going to have a tube, another compartment back here where I'm hoping to put lighter, more voluminous things like sleeping bags, puppy jackets, sleeping pads, that sort of thing. I want to keep, you know, this area open for the skis so they would ride here and here. That would still leave me more than enough room to have the axe so you'd be able to get it in and out without interference. Same with the probe pole. That's it. I'm Darren Jackal. I'm in my studio. I talk about product development, design, and mountaineering. Thanks again for stopping by. This has been another episode of Experimental Design, Discourse, and Disclosure. Take it easy.